have you noticed that there are highs and there are lows and that nothing is permanent? Maybe you thought that the thing that you were chasing was going to be it, and that would bring you happiness. Maybe it was that relationship that you were finally in, and you're like, well, I thought this was it, but now I'm getting like all these signs that it's not it, and the universe is really making me have to let go. And I can see that it's not working, but I'm just going to keep hanging on. And then it's like, you look back and you see that the signs were always there, even from the beginning, that it wasn't going to work, but you ignored the signs because you were attached to something that you thought was going to make you happy, something outside of yourself. Or maybe you do something in your life and it's like, this is my career path. This is what I'm going to be doing. But then life takes a shift and you're doing something that the old you from 20 years ago would have been like, there is no way I would have done that thing. Like, if somebody had told me at 18 years old or at 19 years old, Carly, you're going to become a birth advocate, you're going to have a coaching practice and business, and you're going to help moms have a completely hands-off natural birth at home, and you're going to basically put the truth out there and you're going to be speaking on camera, I would have been like, you are absolutely out of your mind. I mean, I won't even tell people my pen name when it comes to my fan fiction. You really think I want to be visible? I've been thinking of writing a romance novel and I will, but like it'll be under a pen name and I will never show my face. I'll be like that mysterious author that you don't even have a picture of. And I'll just work behind the scenes. Maybe I'll put my stuff out there that way. Like there's no way I'd speak. And I'm not going to speak out about things that are going to put a target on my back. I'm not going to say that thing that'll offend people. They won't like me. I mean, they already don't like me, but you know. And birth? Are you crazy? I'm terrified of childbirth. There's no freaking way. I'm not even going to have kids. Like, forget it. Like, I'll adopt. But, you know, at 19 years old, I also was like, you know what? I'm done. There's no such thing as true love. I've seen that there are no princes. There are no good guys out there. Like I tried to find it. It doesn't exist. Oh well. And even at 23, if somebody had said, Carly, you're gonna you're gonna get married or as close to marriage, because for me marriage is not the piece of paper, it is the commitment of this is the person that I'm going to live with, this is the person I'm going to build a family with, this is the person I'm going to stay with. So for me, as far as I was concerned, I was already married to Tyler. Semantics don't mean anything to me. So yeah, technically I didn't get a real divorce, and at the same time it was like I took the steps to untangle myself from him. He didn't have any assets, so it was easy. And I knew that's like what I take in, I'm taking out. And I've got the kids. Like that was all I cared about. So for me, it's just looking back. If somebody had said, "Yeah, you're going to get into that relationship, you're going to have kids, and then you're going to divorce and be a single mom," I would have been like, "No way, that's not my path. There's no way. I wouldn't do that." Like if I have children with somebody, I stay with them. Like, there's just no way that I'm going to get divorced. I don't want to be a single parent. I don't want to put my kids through that. And then the universe is like, ah, yes, but that is exactly your path that you need to take. And sometimes we're resistant to it. So I was resistant for a very long time. And there came a point where I got hurt so badly. I'm like, I have to let go. I have to let go. I have to move towards this scary thing called building a business. I have to do it because even if I stay with him, I have to build the business because otherwise the money goes to the child support for the other kid. Like, no matter how much he makes, I don't have my financial security anymore. And the thing is about people, you have to recognize this, is that people are not their accomplishments. People are not their content of like what they put out, what they show you. It's deeper than that. Who are they when the chips are down? Are they going to stay down in the mud and just be like, well, what's the point? Or are they the ones that are like, okay, everything burned down? The castle that I built that I wanted to build on the swamp sunk into the swamp. Okay, I'm going to build another castle. Oh, that one sunk into the swamp too. No, I have a vision of a castle in a swamp. I'm going to have that castle in the swamp. And I am not going to give up on that because there's a kingdom that needs to be built around this castle in the swamp. So, oh no, that one just burned down, fell over, and now sunk into the swamp. But this one is standing. Probably because it's on all of the other castles that sunk into the swamp, but you understand where I'm going with this, right? So many people give up. And I talked about this yesterday. It's like so many people give up when it's not their truth. But sometimes you have to see that it's not your truth. Sometimes you have to be hurt so badly that you're like, oh, this was never going to work, was it? But I had to have those lessons in order to be able to go to my next level. That had to fail for me to see what doesn't work so that when I go to the next level, I can show up stronger. If I had never, ever had that relationship, I mean, I wouldn't have my kids, which means I wouldn't have been screwed over by the medical system to end our birth culture, and I wouldn't have been talked out of something that I desperately wanted to have. I wouldn't have seen what was going on. I wouldn't have got good and mad about it, which then wouldn't have led to me being a birth advocate, which then wouldn't have attracted anybody into my sphere of influence, which then continued to reinforce, Carly, you need to speak. Carly, you need to teach classes. And I was resistant again. They're like, this is a service that people would pay money for. And I'm like, no, I'm not a business owner. That's other people. Other people are business owners. I'm not that. I'm just a stay-at-home mom who's also pissed off at the system. And besides, I can't speak on camera. But then the necessity happens where suddenly something else comes up and you get good and pissed off and you're like, okay, I cannot ignore this anymore. Somebody has to say this. And clearly, I'm the only one who can really see it and see it so clearly that I can guide others. I've got a piece of a map that nobody else is seeing. Now I can hoard that piece of that map and be like, oh, I'm never going to do anything with that piece. Or I can speak it and see who else resonates. And when I started sharing those pieces of my map, people were like, suddenly, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. And then you get other pieces from other people's maps. So it's not about making money. And it's not about finding the love of your life. And it's not about just like all of that outward success and happily ever after. What it really is just collecting all of those pieces to you that are like true for you, letting go of anything that doesn't fit in the puzzle, and recognizing that that piece had to go. It wasn't going to fit. That piece had to go. It was actually blocking you from something else. So if I follow the train of what happened, yeah, it sucked. It sucked to find out that the person that I thought was going to be the one and grow old with me and watch our grandchildren grow up and everything and be on the front porch, he's not it. He's it for somebody else. However, we obviously needed to come together. I'm not going to say that that relationship should have never happened, because if that relationship never happened, I wouldn't have my kids, which wouldn't have put me on my path. Those kids had to be born. So you see, sometimes it's weird how the universe will bring you things and you are holding on and you think it's it. but then suddenly it ends after years and you're like, I don't understand. Like things were supposed to be this way. Why is it not happening anymore? Why isn't it working anymore? Because it's not supposed to. The time is done. And if you continue to ignore the fact that the time is done and you need to break away, the universe will absolutely kick your ass and make you let go. If the universe says it's time for you to move house, this place is not serving you anymore for where you're at in your journey, you need to be out and you won't let go, the universe will burn your house to the ground. Or the universe will cause your landlord to evict you. And sometimes you can be in a really weird situation where you think that you're almost free, but then something pulls you right back in and you're like, why can't I break free? Well, sometimes it's just another test. Just before another thing lines up where you move into a really crappy place and then the water dries up overnight. Well, that had to happen too, because if that hadn't happened, it wouldn't have given the swift kick to other people who needed to now get you out of that space a lot faster than they were moving, because beforehand there was no urgency. It wasn't a now problem. It's a future thing. So when I would put things out to people, it's like, look, I want to leave. Like, I'm done. I need to leave now. Like, I've now recognized just how much I need to let go of this because now it's getting into the way of other things. And this ties in too. So I've talked a lot about authenticity this year. I've talked a lot about the glass slipper. I've talked a lot about taking the gloves off and being your full expressive self and the self-love and the value that you need to have to the world. So this basically ties in because I was holding on when it was hurting because I didn't think I could get anything better. I didn't think that I had anything to offer. I forgot who I was. And I didn't have anybody around me to remind me. So then the universe deliberately set it up so that people would start showing me. They would just show up in my life out of the blue. And they would tell me, hey, this thing that you're saying is actually highly valuable. You could do something with this. This is needed. People need to know what you know. It's not just this piece that you've created that we're going to take and make it ours. No. You're more valuable, Cinderella. You need to stick your foot into this shoe so that you can be seen at the ball and so that you can rule this kingdom. You're not a little maid. You forget yourself, Cinderella. You're singing to the mice and the birds. You're kind. And you have big dreams. And yeah, you're in a really bad situation right now. But once we take you into the palace, you are going to be the most shining princess there, to be the most perfect queen for this prince to rule beside, plucking you out. The fairy godmother came to Cinderella when she had lost all her faith and when the last piece of her mother had been ripped from her. Everybody is always thinking, oh, Cinderella's pretty dress got ripped. It's not Cinderella's pretty dress got ripped. Cinderella took a dress out that belonged to her mother whom she didn't get to grow up with. The mother that was the one who had said, have courage and be kind. Cinderella kept that dress. And she was finally old enough to wear her mother's dress. And she has it done up for her. The mice and the birds actually helped her create that dress into something new, something beautiful, still with the foundation of her mother's love. And there's other versions of the tale where it's not a dress, it's something else, but the mother's love is there. Now, I may have gotten a C on that paper. However, I wish that I had kept it. I wish I hadn't thrown it away because I'm pretty sure there were threads in there that maybe it wasn't good for an English class, but it would have worked better in a different space with a different audience. I may have to recreate it if I can remember all of the pieces, because I do remember the 2 stories that I used, and one didn't have a prince in it at all. But the idea is that the mother, her energy is there. And this is why the Grimm's fairy tale is the same way, is like basically the mother's spirit. So she's holding on to her mother, but then that gets ripped to shreds. And the fairy godmother comes in. The fairy godmother enchants that old dress into something even more magnificent. And she's got the glass slippers and she goes to the ball. So when things burn away, what is it? If something were to happen, what would you really be holding on to? And this is how I was able to let go, because I could start to see that everything that I was holding on to, every single memory of the person that I thought that my ex was, the father that I thought he was, the husband that I thought he was, I started to see that's not actually the case. That's not reality. That is the mask that gets put on whenever he wants to pull you back in. But there's other parts that are not it. Just like if you have a friend and that friend is really attractive and you have a lot in common with that friend, and that friend just lights you up. And objectively on paper, you'd look good together. But there's maybe 1 or 2 things. Maybe they're a vegetarian. And maybe they also cut out sugar. And you're like, you know what? There's just no way that I could not have my steak. I mean, I actually have a friend like that. And it was like, I've basically turned him into my twin brother. Like I adopted him because I'm like, yeah, that could actually be a pretty good collaboration. But there are some things that it just wouldn't work. I love to watch live music. It's like, well, I married Gaston, but because it was like, oh, he's a provider. Oh, he's ambitious. Oh, he could probably take me places. He allows me to be my unapologetically badass self to other people, but he doesn't read. There's no way that I could sit there and read a passage to him and have him just lay down on my lap and listen to it and have insights. We couldn't go deep into conversation on that. Like there are just so many other things. It's like the things that I really enjoy doing, he doesn't. The things that really light me up don't light him up. And the things that lit him up, we're like, no, I'm really not into that. You can go do that with other people, but no, I don't really want to do that. But there were so many more things that where I don't want to do that lit him up than there were things that we could do together. So by the end of it, when we were trying to make it work for the kids, it's like, it's not working. Like, I'm happier with you sitting on the couch watching your show, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to work on my stuff. And my stuff lights me up. But we're not together. We're in the same room, but we're not together. We're living as roommates more than we're living as a partnership. So you need to recognize what it really is. If you're looking at the memories and you're holding on to those memories and you're like, yeah, but what about this time? What about this time? It's like, yeah, those memories, you can still love those memories for what they are. You can also be like, and there was this. And that's why we're not together anymore. So when I am occasionally doing family stuff with my ex, because there's parent-teacher interview things and there's stuff that we need to do for the kids every once in a while, and I'm like, I remember that. And sometimes he sends me something. It's like, oh, remember when our kid was like this small? And he sends the thing. And like, yeah, I remember. We got a pretty cute kid. Like, I can appreciate that for what it is. It's not tied to him, it's tied to the child. So, but you couldn't pay me $10 billion to get back into a relationship with him. I can appreciate when I worked in retail. You couldn't pay me $10 million to go work retail again. Like, maybe I'd do it for a day, but if you said, Carly, this is going to be your life now, and we'll pay you $10 million to work in retail for the rest of your life, I'd be like, no, no, mm-mm, no. Because there were things about that that I enjoyed, and there were memories about that that I share with my friends that I worked with at that time. Um, but no, that's not it. It's not me anymore. And it's okay to let go of things that are no longer you and still appreciate the memory. You can hold on to the parts of the memory that light you up, and you can let go of everything else. You can let go. Because here's the other thing. If it's meant for you, it will find you again. Even after all of these years of friendship, that like our friendship has changed. I get a text from my former manager slash best friend and adopted mom, and she just pops in every once in a while. She just pops in. And yeah, we don't get to see each other anymore. We don't get to sit there and dance around to Mamma Mia in the store. We don't get to play our 70s rock music because I mean she was into the 70s music, like that was her era. So she would bring in the classics and I'm like, this is so awesome. This is way better than when I was under different management and it was somebody close to my age, but they were listening to all of the pop music stuff and it wasn't as professional an environment. I was probably more dressed than the manager, and people thought that I ran the store because of how professional and dressed up I looked. I mean, I always looked polished. But when my adopted mom came in, we looked at each other and we're like, I know you. It's like it's impossible to know you, but I know you. You ever had that feeling where you meet someone, you're like, I'm supposed to be friends with this person. We're supposed to do something together. I don't know what. And it might not happen right away, but there's just something. There's something about you. And I had that with my ex. There's something about him. It didn't feel right though. It never actually felt like this is it. But it was like, there's something about you. And I ignored the intuition saying, well, I mean, this is a temporary thing. You're only supposed to have kids with him. And then, like, yeah, you are supposed to have kids with him, but then, like, you got to let go because this isn't it. So here's the thing, nothing that is meant for you will pass you by. Even if you don't see the opportunity, if it is truly meant for you, it will come back. You don't have to chase anything. Because when you let go, it shows up again. And sometimes it's for a season, and sometimes it pops back in again to check if you are at a higher level to see, hey, have you learned the lesson? When you respond differently to the same thing that in the past might have had you jumping at it right away or running in the other direction, well, when it comes back around, you're a new person. You're a brand new person every day. You're constantly growing. At least I hope you are. If you're not, the best time to start is now. You can start looking at all of the things in your life that aren't working, and you can make the choice to let go. You can make the choice to do something differently. You can make the choice to choose yourself, always. If you've been living for other people and you don't know who you are, the first step is to start finding out who you are. If you've been chasing out what other people have told you to go after, but it doesn't light you up, you can choose to do differently. No matter what people tell you you should do, you can choose to do differently. You can tune in. So, I mean, I got to rediscover myself. I realized while I was in that relationship, it's like, I don't draw anymore. I don't paint anymore. I don't play my games anymore. I don't write anymore. I'm just going through the motions. This doesn't actually bring me joy. When we're going out on a date, this doesn't even bring me joy. No matter what I do, I can't seem to find it. Where did it go? Where did that excitement go? Well, here's the secret. It's you. It's not other people, it's you. And you attract what you are. So when the universe is telling you to let go of something, and you're like, yeah, but I don't know anything else. I don't know how to do anything else. Again, trust. Put your glass slipper out there and trust. And then if somebody comes back with your old slipper that you put out there that maybe wasn't even fully you, you can be like, yeah, actually, that slipper's fake. That's what I thought I was, but I'm not that. Like Cinderella in Into the Woods. There's a whole other half of that fairy tale. Because yeah, in the first act, Cinderella leaves her shoe and she wants to see what the prince will do after the third night. She just leaves the shoe on the stairs because he spread pitch on the stairs. And he does go after her. And she even brings her stepsisters and her stepmother into the castle as part of the royal family. Like she doesn't even leave them behind. They're considered part of the royal family. So she was really kind because I wouldn't have done that. Like, I don't know if I would do that, but she did because she probably tried to redeem them or something. But the prince had only really wanted a shiny princess. He didn't value her for her. So he goes out into the woods and he goes and seduces the baker's wife. And Cinderella hears about it from the birds and she's like, well, that doesn't even matter now. Like, it doesn't matter now. That's not what we're worrying about. Okay. And she doesn't say anything to the baker because she understands the birds, but he doesn't. So he doesn't know that his wife was unfaithful because all she had wanted before was a baby and everything, the family, but they weren't happy either. So the thing is, like, you think it's happily ever after, but really the things that they wanted didn't make them happy. And because it didn't actually make them happy, then they go back into the woods and there's the giant and they recognize what was really important. So the baker's wife wanted more excitement than her little life had given her. And she didn't realize that until the prince showed up. And Cinderella realized she wasn't actually happy in the castle. She wanted something in between. So then she goes and she finds that. And the fact is, like, you need to listen. You need to listen to your heart. And it's okay to let go. That movie is so, well, it's a play, but it's also a movie. And I mean, I love that musical for what it has to offer. That's the thing. It's like when my house burned down, the thing I was looking for were the pictures and the DVD collection. I wanted that because those are memories. And then honestly, I didn't really need them because now we have streaming services. Still nice to have, though, in case the internet comes down. I mean, that sometimes happens, and the kids are like, what are we going to do? And it's like, well, we have a DVD. So pick your movie. It's still there. And I wanted to salvage the Pokemon cards, but there was a lot of things that I didn't need. I could rebuild. And I saved my books because those were important. So if your house burns down, metaphorically or figuratively, what are you saving? If you realize that your relationship is falling apart or that it's not what you thought it was, what are you really holding on to? Was it real or was it a mask? And if you know it was real, it'll come around again. If it was fake, well, eventually it goes away. It gives up because it knows. The energy knows. It'll try to trick you. It might come around quite a few times trying to pull you back in. I mean, I had that lesson. It's called a Hoover, by the way, if you really want to know the technical term. It's called a Hoover. And I started to see it. I just started to be myself and I started choosing myself. And I saw just how much are they trying to pull me in now that I'm trying to be my authentic self? And are they pulling me towards myself or are they pulling me away from myself? If it's pulling you away from yourself, it's not right for you. If it's pulling you towards yourself, keep trusting it. And maybe it's pulling you a little bit of the way, or maybe it will pull you the whole way. But either way, let go. Hold on to yourself and let go of everything else. Hold on to yourself. I'll say it another time, 3 times. Hold on to yourself. Find yourself and hold on to yourself and never let go of yourself. And believe in yourself. Believe in your own magic. Believe in your power. Surround yourself with people who believe in your power. Find mentors who believe in you and will take you as far as they can take you. But sometimes they can't take you any further. And they're like, we have to let go now. I can't take you any further than this. I have not gone past this part. Maybe in the future, I may have surpassed that part. But right now, we're on equal footing. The blind leading the blind. You need somebody else to lead you while you're blind. I can't take you any further. And that's the same with relationships. There's some relationships that they felt really good, but they can't take you any further. I mean, I'm not going to make my ex wrong. Yeah, there were things he couldn't go any deeper. He couldn't heal any more with me. I couldn't heal any more with him. I had surpassed him in my healing. And he could not go any further. He was not right. He'd shown me how valuable I could be. He showed me how much I could love, how much I could actually be a little bit vulnerable, even though it wasn't right. He showed me how to be the best mother I could be for my kids. But there was a point where he couldn't take me any further. He told me that anything I put my mind to, I could achieve. But once I started to surpass where he was at, he couldn't take me any further. And I need somebody by my side who can keep taking me all the way to the end. I won't accept anything less. I'm at the point now, it's like I will be alone or I will be with somebody who can constantly grow with me and continue to take me and lift me up and I can lift them up. That's where I'm at. If they can't do it, I'm not going to make them wrong. And I'd said that to my ex. I said, look, I can't take you any further. I can be your friend and I can co-parent peacefully with you, but there are some things of yours that I can't take you there. The direction you want to go in, I can't take you there. I can't be part of that. That's not me. And I'll hate you even more if I have to do that. And I don't really want to hate you because it takes too much of my energy. It's draining to constantly hate you. So it's better if we don't live together anymore. It's better if we are not a couple anymore. It's better if we sever those ties, appreciate that we had a time in our lives where we were together, but I don't want to hate you anymore. I can be annoyed with you when you do things that are annoying, but hate, no. I can let you dig your own grave sometimes, but again, not my monkeys, not my circus. I don't have to worry about it anymore. And the same thing with clients. Sometimes you can't take them any further. There's people that are going to come in, you're going to think, oh, they're going to work with me and they're going to pay me and we're just going to keep going on this path. But maybe they were only meant to take one step to confirm that your stuff is resonating, but they aren't meant to go any further. I had somebody way back at the start of 2021 where I had put out a post and I was looking for moms. I said what I was looking for. I said exactly what I wanted. It's like, I want a first-time mom that I can take through and teach what I know, and I'll do it for just like name your price, basically, would be it. It was like, name your price. And I wanted, for crying out loud, these toll-free numbers, 345, interesting. So I wanted to have a first-time mom, and I wanted a second-time mom who'd been traumatized. I didn't see what was right in front of me at the time because Jenny had come in way back in November, but she wasn't ready yet. She really wasn't ready. But then in January, she's like, okay, I think I'd like to start healing my birth trauma. Can you suggest things? And I put it out for her. And then she came back and she kept coming back. And then that's the point where she's like, I need to take your classes. I'm like, I don't have any classes. I had never taught a class in my life. I didn't know how to do that, but she wanted to learn from me. So even though it was scary for me to do that, and it was scary, I'm like, okay, well, I'd feel more comfortable teaching classes if she told me what she wanted and then I taught that. So I didn't even tell her that yet. She just suddenly wrote up a whole bunch of stuff, put it into a Google Drive, and sent it to me through email. She's like, this is everything I want to know. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm teaching a class. I guess I'm teaching actually a program because this is more than I can put into 1 hour class. But it's all stuff I know. Okay, we'll do this. I'll get Zoom set up. I'll bring people in. We'll do a group. Never coached anybody. I've never asked anybody for money before, but I'll do this. I got my first client paying me more than I'd ever made in my life in just the amount of time that I was putting in each week. And she's like, yeah, done. And then she had the most incredible experience. And then Jenny came after her. I still haven't been able to take a first-time mom client on yet, and that's coming. But the seasoned moms have been just like, I don't want to go through that again. Show me. Show me what I missed. And I recognize that. It's like the universe will not let you give up. It'll keep bringing it around until you take action on it. And the universe will also show you how much you've grown so that you can be like, oh, that thing that used to tear me down and make me feel bad about myself, that didn't even bother me. Wow. Wow. Person said that thing that would have made me crumble in the past, put me in a spiral. I got this. I'm awesome. So universe gives you opportunities, and the universe also reminds you who you are. And when it reminds you who you are, trust it. Surround yourself with others who are like, of course you got that. Of course that happened. Of course you nailed that. You really thought you would? Well, of course that person wasn't right for you. You didn't see that? I mean, my adopted mom's like, I never liked that person. I never thought that that was right. Now I can finally say that I never thought that was right for you. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I deserved better. And I needed the lesson. So let people go and figure things out. Drop your magic and figure things out and recognize you're never going to be done. You're always going to be learning. So approach life each day with the curiosity. Well, why is this coming in now? Why not back then? Well, what would have happened if that had come in back then? Huh. Well, if I'd had all that success back then, the person that's not meant for me would have continued to latch on and drain me dry because, of course, things weren't going well in their life. And yeah, that's why that didn't come in. Or maybe it would have even gotten off the ground. Maybe I would have been too drained. Maybe I would have been too exhausted, too beaten down. Maybe I wouldn't have met the people that I met. Sometimes it's all timing. Actually, it's all timing. Let's be honest, it's all timing. And you don't know where that timing is. So when you're like, oh, of course that came in. Thank you, universe. Thank you. Been waiting for this. Actually, I wasn't even expecting this. This is an awesome surprise. Like, you don't expect it and it just happens. You're just like, oh, I didn't expect that. That's so cool. Awesome. I wasn't expecting that. But thank you. And then you get more. And then the thing that you thought you were holding on to, you're like, oh, this thing? Yeah, this is way better. Like looking at this to this, oh yeah. No, trade up. Trade up. Don't need that no more. You're right. Hanging on to that old ratty thing that you thought, well, this is the only thing I have of this. And it's like, no, there's a big shiny new one that's way better over here. Just trust it. Let that go. Yeah, your house just burned down. Okay. Well, guess what? A new place has opened up and it's closer in walking distance and it's on a safer route so you can take your kids to and from school. It's not perfect, but it's also temporary. Because guess what? That place you're going to get evicted from. Yeah, I know you're now in a really, really crappy place, but just trust it. Just wait 3 days. The water's going to run dry. Yeah, now you're at your dad's. Okay, I know. It sucks. But hey, you're around family again. You can connect with family. You've got some help while you're going through this program and getting everything situated. You don't have to worry right now. Everything's taken care of. And yeah, you're not going to be here forever. Don't worry. There's something else opening up. In fact, 3 months or 3 weeks later, by the way, this place has a dishwasher and it has in-suite laundry and it's bright and it's clean and it's across the street from the school. You can literally zip your kids across the street now. You don't even have to do the long walk. Zip them across the street. How much better is that? And walking distance to your dad's, how much better is that? Like the universe was basically like, okay, yeah, you're going to get your ass kicked, but we got something better. So now I'm like, okay, if something doesn't work, well, what else can I do? Maybe I can just pivot for a little while. Maybe I'll just step back and let go and see what else comes in. Oh, Facebook, you're not going to let me post this thing? Well, other people have already posted my links, and you know what? I don't have to chase. It'll come in, it'll attract. I'll go over here and play. I'll take my ball over here and I'll play. Oh, that's not ready yet? Okay. Well, if it's not ready yet, that's okay. I'll just do other things because I love me. I'm happy just being on my own. I don't have to do anything to be in love with me and to enjoy me. I can go and create something and I can just be like, yeah, I just created this thing and this thing and this thing. And I'm going to put this thing out. And I don't care if anybody watches. Maybe they'll watch in the future. You never know what's going to suddenly show up. Somebody will find something that you wrote years ago, and suddenly it's like, this time it's ready for you. So just keep creating, keep doing your thing, keep falling more in love with yourself, let go of anything that's no longer working for you, and trust that something new and bigger and better is on its way that wouldn't have been able to come in if you were holding on to that thing because that thing was going to destroy what you were going to build or keep you from being able to do it. Anyway, I have about an hour before I need to pick my daughter up because it's an early day and then there's a parent teacher interview. And then I think I'm just gonna, it's Thursday. I've had all my downloads and insights. I have one thing left to do. It's just my weekly newsletter for my list. And even though it's a small list, it's it's practice and I'm enjoying putting out all of those newsletters and the insights that come to me. So I'm going to do that, see what else popped up on threads, and then transition into the weekend. A weekend that I don't know what's going to happen. It's the 12/12 gateway. Something really good could happen, or I could create something that makes it epic. I mean, something good always happens every day. Maybe not even what I'm expecting, maybe even not what I'm asking for, but something cool happens. So just open. I'm just open and receptive to receiving whatever comes in. Bring it on, universe. And if there's something that needs to kick my ass, I'll bring that on too, because I love a challenge. Challenge accepted. The more challenges I get, the more insights I get on how to beat things. You learn how to beat the bosses, you can keep going. And then you can show other people the secret ways to beat the bosses, which in itself is valuable because we're all walking each other home, right? We're all leading each other. I've taken on a lot. I know a lot of people who've taken on a lot. I'm not just me. I am my entire network. I am my entire knowledge base that I continue to accumulate. I'm not just my content or what I've already created. No, no, no. I've got so much more in here and out there that I can bring in. I'm bloody expensive. And I make no apologies for that because I put out the glass slipper. You can have the magic. Can't have me unless you're at a certain level because I attract everything that I want and I repel everything I don't want. And I no longer hold on because I know that what's meant for me will come back around. And if I know that it's still true for me, I know that it's only a matter of timing. And maybe something else has to fall away first, or maybe something else has to be brought in first. Who knows? I have today. There's no future, there's no past. I have today. What's in the past is done. It's a foundation. What's in the future, I can change the building plans anytime I want. It hasn't been built yet. I can change the plans. I thought I wanted this, but now that I'm thinking this might be better, I can change my mind. I can decide whether a glass slipper was crafted properly. And oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. How about that? So the question is the opportunity ready or is it not? Either way, are you having fun today? Because I know I am. I'm having so much fun. I have fun every single day, no matter what's going on. I love my life. And honestly, when I was editing my videos last night, I was like, I look even younger than I did 6 months ago. I haven't done anything really differently in my diet or anything, but somehow I've tapped into a fountain of youth. 39. I don't feel 39. I feel so young. It's incredible. I don't feel my age. Like I don't look my age either, but I don't feel my age, and that's even better. So I think there's something to that. I might go deeper with that in the future. Maybe it ties into that movie In Time. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that this weekend is all mine to do whatever I want with it. And I'm going to do epic things with it, no matter what, because that's what I got. I will probably get my nails done tomorrow, though, because it's time for that too. I wonder what color I'm going to do. Because, I can change that up too. I can change my look anytime I want. You're never stuck. You don't have to hold on. You don't have to be who you were yesterday. You can be a completely new person. You can reinvent yourself anytime you want. But, that's the Scorpio in me talking. I go through transformations all the time. And I just love watching my own transformation. Totally suggest you do that. You'll fall more in love with yourself if you watch your own transformation and see yourself lighting up. Do things that light you up. If sharing things lights you up and you can watch yourself share something that lights you up, you can fall right in love with yourself. And that's the key because you really only have you. And you got to be okay with you to be able to put that magic out for others to attract. Anyway, I love you. And I know you're going to do epic things because, of course, you are. Have you met you? You're pretty damn awesome, don't you think? Think of all the epic things that you've already done. Think of all the epic things, the insights that come to you in a day. Think about the way that you touch others' lives. Come on, you're awesome. You know you're a catch. You know that anybody who's not in your space dropped the ball. They weren't for you. And this new version of you isn't even going to want them in your space unless they grow up and change. And then it's like, okay, well, you're in a new role, but I'm not going to cut you completely out of my life. And that's the same thing with my ex. I'm not going to cut him completely out of my life. He's in a different role. I can appreciate him for who he is in a different role. He is the father of my kids. That will never change. He will be the grandfather of Hunter and Michaela's kids. That won't change. Now, Has there been things in the past that have pissed me off? Of course. And I pissed him off. But we can move past that because the truth is, I don't have to live with him. His choices don't affect me anymore. His lifestyle is not my lifestyle. That's fine. His values are not my values. That's fine. You're not for everybody. So if it's not right, who cares? Right? Exactly. The only one who really matters is you. And everything that you are meant to have, you'll have. And it'll be like, of course you got that. It was for you. You think you weren't going to get that? Yeah, it took a while for it to come in, but you got it now. You going to enjoy it? Because, when you want something and you know it's for you and you've been dreaming about it, when it comes in, oh, it's so much sweeter. The reward is so much sweeter when it comes in, finally. So dream big. We're going into 2025. There's only a few weeks left. Some powerful gateways are coming up. The light is coming back in. I know it's dark right now. I know that everything's dark, but by about the middle of December, things start to get really dark and then they get light again. Every year. The rebirth of the sun happens and the days will get brighter again. And you'll see. You'll have new inspirations. You'll get to create new epic things. And you can draw up your plans now, and maybe things will shift as you continue to move towards your plans. Things shift, niches change, ideal clients change. But if you have an idea, you just keep following it and then refining it and refining it. And then suddenly you realize, oh, I'm in a completely different direction than where I started. And all of it was important. Anyway, I love you and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.